Hello, I'm John Idelson. I'm a member of the nominating committee for Q. And today is a town hall Zoom meeting where you're going to get to meet the candidates for the board of Zoom. I want to thank all you candidates for being in the dropping your name in the hat to be nominated for the position of Q board. Q is an amazingly strong organization with members all across the state of California and Nevada. And it has a strong leadership team, but really the guidance of the volunteers and leadership of educators like you who step up to fill leadership positions, it makes it such a strong organization. So the goal of today's meeting is for people in Q to get a chance to put a name and a face and a voice with the people who have been nominated for the Q board. So we're going to start with brief introductions. I'm going to ask you two questions, and then you'll have an opportunity to give one statement in terms of why you'd like to be on the Q board. So let's start first with just your name, your title, and a little bit about you. And I'm going to go with Adam.
Okay, thanks, John. Again, my name is Adam Juarez. I'm a grade 6 through 12 tech integration coach for Cutler-Orosi Joint Unified School District out here in rural Central California. This is my 17th year in education. The first 10 years I taught U.S. and world history for middle school and high school. In the last 7 years, I've been on assignment as a tech integration coach. I am a CVQ board member, the co-author of the Complete EdTech Coach, an organic approach to supporting digital learning. I'm a father of 4 daughters, and I'm a former collegiate soccer player.
Wow. 4 daughters and teaching history. That's a good combination.
Yep. I have a 5-month-old too.
Okay. Well, Jennifer.
Congratulations on your 5-month-old. That's exciting.
Thank you.
My name is Jennifer Dean. I'm a first grade teacher in the Coachella Valley area at Desert Sands Unified School District, right where Spring Q is right in its home. I started my teaching career in Illinois and I moved out to California like 6 years ago. And I have been just loving it out here and loving being part of Q. I also am a new mom to a 5-month-old little boy. If you follow me on Twitter, you probably, that's all you ever see. It's about my little baby.
Thank you, Jennifer. And Lucia, a little bit about you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lucio Padilla Jr., and I'm the Director of Instructional Technology for the Calexico Unified School District. I'm in my 26th year in education, all of them here in Calexico. Spent my first part of my career as a teacher, then I was an elementary principal, and currently in 8 years in my current position. I've been a member of Q since 2001, and it's been a big part of my career. And I was just finishing my third year, my first term here as a Q board of directors. And so I'm really excited to be here with all of you, and really excited to want to be here and continue to contribute to the organization.
Thank you. And Omar, a little bit about you.
Thank you. Thank you. My name's Omar Shepard. I have the honor of serving as a curriculum specialist in STEM and career education with the Orange County Department of Education. I'm an ambassador for computer science for all and really spend my days working with elementary teachers to identify strategies to integrate computer science in their classrooms. On the career education side, we're really working to draft courses to support high schools with having pathways to support all students, no matter which industry sector they'd like to go into. I'm a proud member of OCQ, in fact, having had the honor of serving as president for a couple of terms, and actually now serve as vice president of business. It's been a great, exciting opportunity. You know, one of the reasons I'm looking forward to being a part of this is just looking forward to being able to give back and being able to contribute to the larger tapestry of the the Q community. Thank you.
Oh, no, you're allowed to say OC.
That's right.
We're going to do 2 sets of questions. We're going to have the same question for all of you, so I won't repeat the question for in between, but the question is, what do you see as the greatest challenge for educators today? And Jennifer, I'm going to go with you first because I have a 5-year-old too, if you multiply it by 8, but that's a whole nother story. So the question is, what do you see as the greatest challenge for educators today?
I think that the greatest challenge for educators today is definitely teacher burnout. Just because it's not really the teacher's fault at all. It's just that there's so much constantly being piled on top of teachers' plates, and they're trying to meet the needs of their students, and then more and more is added to them. And I think Q does a great job at really supporting teachers and helping with that. But I think definitely the burnout that's caused by the current educational system is one of the greatest challenges for teachers today.
Thank you. And Alan? Or Adam, excuse me.
Yeah, no problem. For me, I think part of the biggest challenges is engaging modern students. Kids today are wired differently than we were when we were going through school. There isn't a kid today in our schools that know the world without the internet, and we need to really move with the pedagogical shifts to meet their unique learning needs, all the while avoiding teacher burnout. So I think Q is a great place to address both of those pressing needs.
Okay, and Omar.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I really would have to concur with Jennifer. Having the honor of serving at a county office role and serving about 28 school districts, I'm seeing a lot of just general fatigue in the field. It's a literal push and pull in multiple directions. On one hand, you have your academic and curricular goals, but also you're seeing a need to really meet the students where they are with a relation to social emotional learning. I'm really finding that is really causing teachers to really feel a lot of stress and pressure around how do you find the best way to meet the needs of your students. And I think that's one of the great things I would concur that Q really does, giving you a community of educators that you can lean on and learn best practices from. Thank you.
Okay, Lucio.
And when I think about the challenges, I think back, before the pandemic, and I used to advocate so much that we really needed to embrace the change that technology was bringing. And certainly that still remains true, but, just kind of reflecting, just even looking at my family personally, my wife's a teacher. I have 3 children, 2 of them in high school, 1 is a junior in the university. And just seeing the level of impact that it's having on them, with just different challenges now with engagement, with mental wellness, and then some of the things that we already knew were there has been fully exposed by the pandemic, right? So things with the racial reckoning that we've been dealing with, and with the wars that we're having, and the ramifications, like some of you already alluded to, of students learning from home and feeling that they can multitask, and all of a sudden they're being reverted back to the classroom is bringing a whole new set of challenges that we can no longer ignore. And just thinking about my kids now, as they're preparing to leave high school, and one of them already out of it, is really thinking about what does it mean to be really prepared for after high school. And I just really see that as the organization having a real potential benefit in a model organization to lead and support teachers with that regard to that challenge.
Well, you all really hit on a lot of the challenges. And for me, I've been a Q member since the beginning of Q. And I don't think I've ever experienced the level of challenges, strains, demands that have been put on our educational system than we've had in these last 2 years. So clearly, you hit the high points of the challenges. There's a lot more of them that Q and educators across our states are going to have to deal with. So saying that, the next question we're going to have you talk to is, why is a community such as Q so important that we keep it and we maintain it? And I'm going to go with Omar to start this one.
Thank you, John. I really want to just take a moment to share some thoughts I have around some of the larger structures within Q. As we think about the organization, we can acknowledge all the many networks, whether we're thinking about the leaders that serve, that are a part of the Q organization, whether we're thinking about our edu-friends that are classroom teachers, or TOSAs that are a part of the organization, as well as an opportunity for us to tap in and share up best practices for engaging with technology with classified personnel. I see Q as an wonderful organization that really creates an opportunity for all that work in the educational space, to have a space where they can be able to learn about things that maybe they hadn't been introduced to. To be honest with you, before Q, I was not on Twitter. I had went to a session one day, I believe it was Ann Cosma, talking about the value of building your professional learning network using a resource such as Twitter. She says, "Hey, Omar, are you on Twitter?" I say, "No, I don't tweet." She says, "Well, come on." "Okay, so what did you want to be when you grow up?" I said, "A doctor." She says, "Well, what's your passion?" I said, STEM. She says, "Okay, Dr. STEM. Look it up. And before you knew it, I became Dr. STEM. Now, interestingly, the idea behind the Professional Learning Network has kind of stuck with me. It's what actually inspired me to join my local affiliate and eventually serve as president. So I think one of the cool things about engaging with a community such as CUE is the opportunity for you to develop as an educator. In fact, I can remember when I first started, I was actually in a different role at the Orange County Department of Education. But through some of the professional learning opportunities and the ability to build relationships, I was able to grow at my own organization and now even be a greater resource to the community, pun intended. Anyway, I really hope that was helpful. Thanks.
Thank you. I like the community. I'm going to have to save that. Jennifer, how would you answer this question?
Okay, baby is waking a little here, so he might get loud. First of all, I love that community. That was perfect because that's exactly what CUE is. CUE is a community. And similar to Omar, I was on Twitter before I joined CUE, but I didn't know a lot about CUE until I moved out to California. And once I moved out here and I really started getting involved in like ed camps and then going to the CUE conference, it was just like, wow, these are my people. And it was a great way to just really connect with like-minded individuals. And I kind of just jumped on the board. My first CUE conference, I went to my local affiliate meeting, and in Coachella CUE, we have a saying, if you show up, you're elected. So I got right on the board right away, serving as communication and events. And that's really where my passion grew. And I just love CUE. I love putting on events that are inclusive. I've been working a lot with Equity in Action on how we can be inclusive and how we can get diversify our spaces and really make sure all voices are at the table. And I think CUE is starting to work on that. And I would just really love to be a part of that. CUE is just, like I said, it's a way for us to really get together with people who are like us, who we can, build support with. Some of my closest friends are actually people I've met through CUE. So it's really an amazing thing. And it's just been a passion of mine. And I would love to help others and continue to see it grow.
Thank you. And Lucio?
Yeah, I think CUE is important to maintain and for me, it's that personal experience with CUE, being a member since 2001. And, throughout my career as a teacher and as a principal and in my current role, there's always been such a huge source of inspiration and a huge source of building my capacity. And it has helped me succeed at each level that I've been in my career. It's been a big part of it. And so I think it's important to maintain it because it can be that for other people as well, right? Like people sometimes ask, oh, you're so creative. And I don't really consider myself creative, but people say that I'm so creative. And I just really just attribute it to, that's because I just hang out with very creative people at CUE, right? So in addition to the sessions and the events, it's that networking, those connections that you make, that opportunity to learn as much as just from being in the events in the affiliate level and the events from the big events from CUE, that gives you that opportunity to just always continuously throughout the year be able to expand and build upon and always be consistently improving yourself in your craft as an educator.
I really resonate with that, your statement there. I always went to CUE and really hung around the smart people and didn't say much because that way people would assume I was smart because I was hanging around with them. So last but not least in this little exercise, I'd like you to take a minute or so to just say why you think the members of the CUE community should vote for you for board. Remember, we have 4 candidates here, but there are only 3 board positions. You're all more than qualified. So it's really trying to figure out what's the best match for the CUE board to meet the needs that the CUE community has at this moment. So in a minute or so, and I'm going to turn it over to Adam.
I didn't answer the last question.
Oh, never mind. Adam answered the last question. I'm glad you're keeping me on track. I thought I could do this. Let's go to the last question. That previous question, then we'll go to the next one. Sorry about that.
Yeah, so you know what, I couldn't agree with all of you more. Like a lot of what you said, I just want to all that resonates with me. What Joe Marquez has said over the years to me, one of my great inspirations, he says that learning and teaching is a team sport, and and I think CUE is a great place for that. Going forward with education, everything we do in education should be a team sport, and CUE is a great place to grow that PLN. Joining CUE was a watershed moment in my career. What I've done professionally and personally in the last 5 to 6 years, it's all down to me joining Q. I joined Q, that got me on Twitter. I got on Twitter. I earned all my certifications from level 1, level 2 trainer and innovator in Google. I even met my wife on Twitter. If it wasn't for me joining Q and getting on Twitter, I wouldn't have met my wife. I wouldn't have co-authored a book, and I wouldn't be sitting in front of you here today. It's a watershed moment when you surround yourself with such a powerful community. You know, there's no telling what you can do professionally and personally. And the ones that benefit are the students that we serve. So maintaining Q going forward is, I think now as we are emerging from the pandemic, is more important than ever before.
So Adam, I apologize for almost skipping you there, but I'm with Omar with the heart, meeting your wife over Twitter. That's pretty good. Okay, so back to what I was saying before I went out of line. There are 4 positions available for the board, 3 positions. We have 4 candidates. And what I'd like you each to do now, and I'll try to make sure I call on everyone this time, to just, for a minute or so, say why you think you would be a good person for the Q membership to vote to the board. And let's start with Jennifer, because she's got that little baby that we don't know how long he's going to be a happy, content camper.
Yeah, we just never know. Adam, as you probably know too, huh? And Adam, that was really well said. First of all, I love that. It's so true. Q just has really changes your life when you support yourself, and it's all for the kids. One reason I think that I should be a candidate for the Q board is because I have a passion to serve, and I really believe boards need to be made up of diverse spaces so that all our voices are heard. And being, first of all, a primary teacher, a female, a gay educator, I think that our voices really need to be at the table so we can be making the decisions that are really best for our students, for our teachers. And I just think having that diverse representation is super important. I also just really, like I said, have a passion for Q. And I feel like, especially, we know if we really want to see change, we need to start at the bottom and work our way up. And starting with that technology integration, with that focusing on the pedagogy first in those primary grades is super important. And I would just love to be a part of that even more. Whether I'm on the board or whether I'm just serving my local affiliate is the same for me. It's just that passion of serving others.
Thank you. Lucio, let's go with you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, for me, I'm going for my 2nd term, right? And so as a member, back in 2017, I was part of working with local educators and getting Imperial Valley Q officially recognized as an affiliate and serving as their first board president was very, very rewarding. So, had a lot of fun, just really enjoyed it, and being able to contribute at the local affiliate level and having the opportunity to then serve with the Q organization on the Q board these last 3 years. Certainly the pandemic threw a lot of the fun away from that, right? And it created a lot of different challenges and so forth. But at the same time, it was an opportunity to grow and to learn. And, I bring a lot of historical background in some very crucial key moments, I would say, for the organization and where it's headed. And I think I bring that wealth of knowledge and trying to help the organization pivot in its direction of its new mission and its goals that it wants to accomplish. I'm real excited. I'm thrilled and honored to be here with all of you. And I've told my local affiliate, if I don't get reelected, I'm coming back to IVQ, right? I'm gonna continue to serve and be part of the Q community one way or another. But there's my background and why I'm excited and my commitment to the organization.
Yeah, no, once you get the Q bug, you never leaves you. And the Q board did have a very challenging 2 years. So Adam, so I don't forget you, I'm going to ask you this question this time.
So why me? Why should I be on the Q board? I think I bring a perspective that's very unique. I think we all do. But I serve a very an underserved population community. I serve a community that's one of the lowest socioeconomic, not just in the state, but in the entire country. And we've definitely, and I bring that perspective to these. I want to bring a voice to the voiceless. I think I bring a new set of eyes to the Q board. Most people who I've seen on the Q board over the years have extensive administration experience. I don't. I've been a coach for 6 years. I've been a classroom teacher for 10 years before that, and I think a new set of eyes from that level could bring a fresh perspective to the decision making in Q. through my extensive work with Google, I've learned very much the design thinking process. And as we go forward, one of the questions that I get a lot when people hear me talk about Q, like, well, what do I get out of Q? And honestly, that's a question that at LDI over the years we've been trying to figure out through member engagement, and we need to really think of the end user. How are we serving those end users, and how can we get more people involved? Because we haven't even scratched the surface with the amount of teachers that need Q. There's way more teachers in the state and throughout our region that don't know anything about it. And how are we going to reach out to them and be of service to them going forward? That's definitely a goal of mine if elected to the Q board.
Thank you. And Omar?
Thank you. Thank you. You know, I have been pondering what I might share during this time. And I guess for some reason, I'm thinking back on some of my experiences, whether as a part of other leadership networks, one of them working with LDI, our Leadership Development Institute right here with Q, and thinking about the opportunities to develop ourselves, and having a conversation once a couple of years ago with John Ike, who was one of the leaders with one of the affiliates, and really receiving true mentorship, being a young, newer rather, president, and learning that, you know, none of us begin the work serving with Q knowing. We come to it with a mindset of servant leadership. How might we lead through service? And I'm reminded of the first time I attended a conference. I was there were what felt to be thousands of people. And I just kind of walked in. I think Lisa Highfield was speaking at the time. And she goes, "That's right, everyone. You've got to make it, break it, share it, take it." And I'm like, that's right. And I got bit by the bug. And I'll be honest, my session that summer in our summer camp was called Make It, Break It, Share It, Take It. So I will give her credit for that. That notwithstanding, I think one of the reasons I should be considered to serve on the board is not just because of my heart to serve or heart to be of service, but really thinking about a lot of times I serve teachers K-12. There's 28 districts in the county where I'm serving as a county office curriculum specialist. And every district is different. Every school is different. And it's about thinking about what are the ways we can create support, programming, or structures to meet the needs of all educators, no matter what are the socioeconomics or curriculum sets that they have at their district. And I very much bring that mindset when I come to the work of what we'd be doing with Q, as it relates to thinking about whether it's a small county, whether it's, almost one-room schoolhouses, or counties where there are schools with thousands and thousands of students. It's different everywhere. And I think to have a wonderful tapestry of a board with a mindset around serving each of those different communities. And I guess I must acknowledge, I didn't know how to say this, but stepping into a room and really there being only one of you there, meaning being the only African-American in the space, and wondering about not just like why, but what might be some new ideas, energies, ways in which we outreach our market that can open up spaces and create more opportunities for access. I mean, in my mindset, when I receive professional learning with Q, is almost like I walk away like I plugged into the fire hose of professional learning, right? Ready to go and just, I don't know, change the world or something. So I really think that that's one of the things that I would love to be able to contribute, and hopefully one of the reasons why folks may consider me to be a great member of the board. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And I have to say, having been on the nominating committee for, I think, almost 10 years now, this has been one of the most incredible groups of candidates that we've ever had. And as a retired educator, although my wife says I'm failing retirement, it's really exciting to see that we have such great educators and leaders like you in your classrooms and in your districts. Whether you're serving on the Q board or not, you are really making a difference within our community. Now, speaking of the community, if you're a member of Q, you've now just heard from the candidates for the Q board. There is more information. There are candidate statements, more background, and probably a number of you in the audience know these Q members because they've been active in their local areas. But take a time to learn about the candidates. I hope you enjoyed getting to hear them today. It was a real pleasure for me to get to meet you all in person, only having seen your vitas and the information you submitted to the board. So thank you again for coming. For everyone, voting is the most important thing we could do, whether it be a local, national, regional, or a Q board. So make sure when you have that opportunity to vote. Thank you guys so much for being here today.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you.